It's Thursday the 26th. I don't even know where to begin. I just want to burn it all down. A 56-year-old nearly blind refugee from Burma was found dead after he was abandoned by Border Patrol. They held him in Erie County Holding for an entire year because he was out on a walk using a shower curtain rod for a walking stick because he's a poor refugee from Burma. He's nearly blind. He doesn't speak English. He got lost, ended up on a porch of a woman. She called the police. When he didn't immediately follow their commands to drop his weapon, the curtain rod, they tased him and beat him. He was charged with assault, trespassing, and possession of a weapon, his curtain rod. So he was released from county jail, then immediately picked up by Border Patrol. The Border Patrol agents then determined that Shah Alam was not supposed to be in their custody, so they dropped him off at a Tim Hortons. According to Border Patrol, he showed no signs of distress, mobility issues, or disabilities requiring special assistance. The agents did not notify his family that he had been dropped off at that Tim Hortons. The family spent Friday through Sunday searching for him, and then they filed a missing persons report. And on Tuesday the 24th, the refugee from Burma was found dead. Cuban military intercepted a Florida-registered speedboat carrying 10 passengers. That boat opened fire on the Cuban military boat. The Cuban military fired back, killing 4. The 10 people on that speedboat were planning, quote, an infiltration with terrorist aims. All 10 were Cuban nationals residing in the U.S. Handguns, assault rifles, and improvised explosive devices were recovered from the speedboat, along with other tactical gear. The U.S. blockade of oil to Cuba continues, and the conditions there are described as hellish. Listen to some of the conditions on the ground. Electrical outages for 20 to 30 hours, and then the power comes on for 2 hours or less. Running water is frequently unavailable for days at a time. Widespread hunger. Most families cannot afford 3 meals a day. Often a child's only breakfast is instant soft drink, as even bread has become scarce. A single bag of milk for her daughter costs half of her monthly salary. Kansas passed a law which came into effect today on the 26th. It says Kansas issued driver's licenses and identification cards must now reflect the credential holder's sex at birth. And the Kansas DMV has now sent letters to trans individuals across Kansas that says they must surrender their driver's license. Their current credentials are considered invalid, and should any transgender person be caught driving without a valid license, they could face Class B misdemeanor carrying up to 6 months in jail or a $1,000 fine. And transgender women will be housed with men because Kansas requires county jails to house inmates according to sex assigned at birth. Canada has designated the Proud Boys as a terrorist group alongside Al-Qaeda and ISIS. On Wednesday, Vance announced that the Trump regime would temporarily halt more than $250 million in Medicaid reimbursements to the state of Minnesota.
Temporarily halt certain amounts of Medicaid funding that are going to the state of Minnesota in order to ensure that the state of Minnesota takes its obligations seriously to be good stewards of the American people's tax money.
This is another blatant abuse of federal power to punish the residents of states who have leaders that are political opponents of this regime. That's it. February 19th, new report from the civil rights organization Julian has found more than 70 lynchings in the South across 7 southern states since the year 2000. On February 18th, 21-year-old Kyle Basinga was discovered in Fair Oaks Park hanging dead from a tree. His death has now been ruled a suicide. Remember 21-year-old Trey Reed, who was also found dead hanging from a tree on a Mississippi University campus? His death was also ruled a suicide, but a second independent autopsy has revealed blunt force trauma to Reed's head. Remember, Reed's family immediately contested the ruling, pointing to visible injuries on his body. On Tuesday, activists in Denmark blocked the Maersk headquarters. They were protesting the alleged transportation of military equipment to Israel. It's a small group of activists, but they are well organized, and that is what we are missing in the United States. We are missing organization. And that's why I will be transitioning to longer form content. This week I'll be putting out the first episode of what I will call Meditations on the End of the World. Because remember, when I started talking about all this, I was warning that Trump was going to use white supremacist militias as his brown shirts, and that ICE would be his secret police. And at the time, those were kind of outrageous statements. I don't need to keep ringing that alarm because people understand that now. They're like, tell me something new. Because it's not about ICE. It's not about Trump. It's not about Palantir. Those are symptoms symptoms. The root disease is this system in which all of the wealthy elite's interests align. That will be the overarching theme of my long-form content, so stay tuned.